Welcome to this webinar, Smarter HR for Cannabis, How AI-Driven Tech Can Streamline Your Workforce, a webinar that we are presenting here at Cultivated with our partners at UZIO. We're going to wait about one more second just to let our people trickle in. I see people coming in either on YouTube or in our LinkedIn channel. Okay, here we go. Again, welcome to Smarter HR for Cannabis, How AI-Driven Tech Can Streamline Your Workforce, which again is a webinar presented by here at Cultivated and our partners at UZIO. My name is Jay Rosenthal. I'm the co-founder and managing director of Cultivated Media. And for the purposes of this webinar, I'll be your host, moderator, back-end technician, and producer. And when we started working with UZIO team last year, so end of 2024, we knew we wanted to host webinars focused on how cannabis-specific HR and payroll tech can help manage your cannabis business more effectively and profitably. So we hosted a webinar back in January with UZIO called Streamlining Cannabis HR and Payroll Technology. And in that webinar, we touched on how, with the ever-changing regulatory and compliance landscape, having an HR and payroll partner that understands the cannabis industry and has built tech specifically for the industry essential. And I'll put a link to that webinar in the notes because, and you can also find it on our YouTube channel in the chat. And that was a great webinar, obviously, but also it was a great introduction to what we're talking about today because 6 months have passed, which is a lifetime with cannabis and technology. So in a moment, we'll be joined by Lilly Raney. She's the VP of Sales, Marketing, and Partnerships at UZIO to talk about the latest advancement at UZIO and how the introduction of AI into their HR and payroll platform has really changed for cannabis business operators. And while we generally do take questions live, I think for HR-related issues and questions, it's best to anonymize the questions for today. And I would encourage you to reach out directly to Lilly during or after her segment, and I'll post her contact details in the chat as we go, so you can do that by email. So with that, it's my pleasure to welcome up Lilly Raney, the VP of Sales, Marketing, and Partnerships at UZIO. But more than that, Lilly is a friend of mine and a friend of the industry. She's been working in the industry for a very long time. She understands the changing needs of cannabis businesses up and down the cannabis supply chain. And it's my pleasure to welcome her here today. Lilly, welcome. Lilly, thank you so much for being here, for making this webinar possible. We checked in with you via webinar early in the year, and we had a special guest. Do you remember? I was just watching the last one, and I saw this cute dog.
I forgot that he jumped in. Yeah, I did not remember that, but he's still here. He'll probably bark and join us a few times, probably. That's
fair enough. All that would be a welcome addition. It was 4 months ago when we checked in with you. It was January 30th. I double checked, rewatched the webinar. It was called Streamlining Cannabis Business HR and Payroll Technology. Yeah. It was great. A lot of great information. A lot of people joined. A lot of people saw the content afterwards. And since then, you've also been a partner of Cultivated. I have seen that UZIO has changed, grown, altered. What has changed? And what have you been up to? Because it's been a sprint for 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me again. Very excited to talk to you guys and share about our last 6 months of a journey. We basically heard a lot from our customers that these sort of typical questions like, this doesn't exist in the platform. I still have to do this in spreadsheets. No other platform on the market we know offers this, but can you guys solve this? Can you guys solve this problem?
Sure.
I mean, this is very typical in tech. And our goal always has been, we've always been focused on how do we get people out of spreadsheets, right? Like, I mean, I think software in general was supposed to eventually relieve us of Excel and spreadsheets. And we never really, I don't think tech ever really fulfilled on that promise. And we saw an opportunity in December to begin this process. And that's a big task to take on. Thank goodness about 4 months before that, our leadership team decided to start learning everything they could about this crazy thing called AI. Mm-hmm. What is AI? What are people doing? How are people utilizing it? What does it exist today? And we started building and creating intelligent technology for our clients to start to solve some of their problems. We built our first one beginning of January, released it, and it was in market by end of January. So right about the time we were having our webinar, we saw an opportunity to start actually having these agents work. One of the first ones we launched was an actual tool we released to all of our customers if they wanted to opt into it, which is Expenses. It's its own agent, its own app, and you can log on to it, upload policies, and AI will automatically, or not, you can select it or not, for both audiences. It will actually automatically adhere to your policy and pre-approve anything that's within policy, anything that's without or doesn't exist in the policy. It'll pre-decline and give you an opportunity to review that before it's submitted and in line directly with payroll. It's a really unique opportunity. It was a problem, I would say, or something our customers were asking for in general, like in Expenses in sync with payroll. Since then, we've heard a lot of great feedback about it. We're continuing to evolve that particular agent. And then we immediately started asking more questions. What else do you guys need? What would be really helpful? What would save you time? What we see a lot in small to mid-sized businesses is these multi-hat kind of people. We all do it. I mean, I do it. I'm sure you do it. But HR people that are also managing the payroll team, owners that are also running payroll, owners that are also the head of HR, head of HR also managing the retail operations and running payroll. But it's not sustainable if you think about it over time. And in all of our jobs, we've been asked to do more and more and more over time. The expectations have grown and grown. And I think that technology has always been the answer to solving this problem of the increased workload, less work-life balance. And we've reached in sustainability, essentially. And technology can fill that gap. So we've continued to sort of grow. We've been very busy building, training, and releasing our own agents. And it's been really exciting, really fun.
I want to clarify, one, that you're talking about AI agents, not actual people who are working a phone. That's one thing. But also, like, I think people are confused because they've used ChatGPT, which is a chat bot, or they use a chat bot when they go to someone's website and it's like, they're chatting with someone they know is not real. An agent is much more, it's not a little person that sits on your side, but like it's a technology, piece of technology that sits with you and helps you do your work better. And that's what you're talking about, yes?
It's a trained technology. Yeah, it's fed actually learning documents and material. It's also an agent and a chatbot are very different in the sense that an agent actually lives within the core platform versus a chatbot actually can cross over outside of any technology. And a chatbot, really, the purpose of a chatbot, I think, is really helpful. Like we have a co-pilot in our platform as well. And I think it is really helpful. And people do see a lot of value of getting quick insights into any sort of question. It kind of takes your reporting feature, and we all love BI and BI analytics and these incredible analytics tools, but it kind of takes your reporting and just says, like, what do you want? That's like what a chatbot is, or what do you need help with? Support is a really easy application for an AI chatbot. And also something that can be third-partied. Any chatbot can just be taken and plugged into the platform and managed. Obviously, don't insert confidential information in there. It can be accessible, we know, outside of the platform, unless it's confined within the core platform. But these agents are actually unique in the sense that they are trained to actually do work for you. Now, what's unique about our offering, and I think actually now we're starting to see a trend of other technologies, both within this industry and outside this industry, you really still need that human intervention. And it's not something we could have learned about until we started activating these agents and working with them and releasing them to customers. Having this human intervention is somebody who's actually knows what they're looking for and has the experience and the knowledge, almost like what you're saying, like guiding an admin, almost training an admin to sort of look out for the things that you look out for. So a lot of questions we ask during these, like when we're evaluating whether or not an agent is right for this build is, what are you looking out for? What are you trying to prevent? What's your goal? Which at the end of the day, is kind of the way you want to interact with an admin, right? And you also want to kind of train it to be equivalent to you, to be duplicate of you if needed, right? You don't want to answer a question at midnight on a Thursday, right? Who can be your backup? Who is my backup? I mean, we have that issue in when we were multiple hats as well.
Yeah.
But our agents in particular are actually doing work for you and with you, and you're guiding them. And I mean, I think all of us that have sort of grown in our career and expanded in our career, we've always looked up to, potentially like C-suite people and said, man, think about how much work I could get done if I had an admin.
Right.
I would, oh my gosh, just give me someone to manage my calendar and I'd be ready to go, right? This is a similar idea, but applications are more specific to HR and payroll, time management, things like that.
And I guess that is sort of one of the questions as well, is that you see HR and payroll, and a lot of people do it either off the side of the desk or their sole role. And like, I don't think it's the first thing people think that AI is going to be applicable to,
right.
But now that you say it, and there are things that people do every month, and it wouldn't be easier if like they got done automatically as opposed to having to push button. Like, are those the types of things that AI is certainly helping within the platform?
Absolutely. Where we see a huge time savings already, specifically in payroll. We'll take kind of payroll and HR separate, and then we could even take a third in time management, right? And so when we see in payroll is this idea of almost like your backup, like reviewer of payroll. So yes, we have this screen on our platform where you can go and look at like a summary of everything that's going on. On top of that, we have this agent that's a payroll anomaly agent. It runs through everything. Says you're about to run this payroll. Here's a few things you might want to look at.
Right.
So it's almost like, again, like having checks and balances. How nice would it be to be another you, but all they're doing is looking out for the things that you've trained them to look out for. So one of the things we see it mentioned all the time is, this deduction is actually super high, or this expense is way higher than normal. Their overtime is actually uniquely different than your last 4 payrolls. You might want to just double check that before you go ahead and submit and release that payroll. Things like that. We're talking about easing people's minds, right? We're talking about thinking about our jobs in terms of speed and efficiency and accuracy, but then also like, how could I be better potentially if I had another version of myself that was focused, right? So that's payroll. And then in HR, we see this really incredible opportunity of, although we're not federally legal, which is another conversation, we do have to follow HR compliance for states. And in states like California and New York, and others, there are really high benchmarks for HR compliance. So in HR in particular, things like eligibility being automatically something that is presented to you all the time, something you can track all the time. But mainly being able to set these benchmarks for yourself based on where are your company goals? How much do I want to check something? How often do I want to check something? If we want to cross on over into time management, we're thinking about things like break rules and meal breaks and time off. And some of these things are so incredibly specific to the state, to the city, that they do need to be taught to an agent. But how important would that be to be able to go on the platform and have that ease of mind that you're adhering to all of the compliance issues, anything that can potentially come up, or you could be at high risk for? Mm-hmm. So these are the different opportunities, and they do kind of cross over. So that's why we're kind of uniquely qualified in that sort of like all-in-one idea. Now, could you take just payroll and just apply that agent and really be really well covered within the area? Absolutely. But think about how all of these things really cross over. Time sheets go into payroll, and then PTO into payroll, deductions into payroll. All these things really all kind of coexist at the same time. And having that ease of mind of, I checked everything that I know to check, and then maybe even things I didn't know to check. When you're starting a small business, these things can be so scary and daunting, or you're starting to grow your business really quickly. And we see companies all across the board like that in cannabis.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask you what related to HR, payroll, time management, what are you seeing as sort of trends in cannabis right now? Because we are in a different place in the industry now than we were, 6 months ago, 6 months before that, a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, where companies are becoming more efficient out of necessity. Companies are becoming more efficient because
survival.
They need to be, and they're becoming efficient because they're getting to an age of maturity where they're not mom and pop shops anymore. They're mom and pop shops times 5 stores, times 10 stores, right? They're growing by leaps and bounds. They're operating in Massachusetts, New York, and New Jersey. Like, they're becoming more complex businesses out of both necessity and desire. Like there must be things that you're seeing that others aren't.
I think the biggest question we get asked when we do this type of like review with our clients, that's how often we communicate with most of our clients. The biggest question we hear is, biggest worry we hear is, but what about what we don't know?
Right.
That is just, it's too scary to think about. And, you know, we all enter HR and people management and all these things because of our passion for people and protecting our people, protecting the business. Like these are things we think about all the time. And actually something like compliance, I mean, we'll just take meal breaks in California as an example.
Right. No,
it crosses over between people and company and your comfortability with how well you're protecting the business. So I would say our list of compliance metrics that people are looking to keep track of, check all the time, and actually have an agent that would make recommendations. And then the next stage to that obviously is actually making adjustments based on whether or not you're compliant, whether or not you're adhering to the rules and regulations of your state, of your city, because those can be different things too. I would say those are the things we're hearing the most often. What about the things we don't know? Because what's so cool and exciting about cannabis is we do get new operators, but we also get people, we talk to people all day long that have been in payroll or been in HR. I've been in payroll and HR for 10 years. I've been in payroll HR for 13 years. I've been on 6 different systems. I've been on, I don't want to mention it, but I've been in systems both in and outside the industry. And I just don't understand why no one can solve this problem in particular. And I love the diversity in this industry. It is, and I love all the diversity and goals too. You know, we talked to one mom and pop shop. Their only goal is to serve veterans, and that's their focus. And they want to be medically focused. And then we talked to, you know, a couple hundred employee company that we want to grow by double this year. And we want to support, you know, another state, another vertical, another, you know, these goals need to be achievable with the current tech options you have. So, yeah.
I actually want to ask you, because it seems to me very forward what you're talking about, the technology, the integration, the agents, like thinking about how payroll and HR and time management all work together, having an agent being able to help you foresee things that you can train that know your business as well as they could know it because you fed all the information of your business. It seems to me that that's wildly forward thinking for the cannabis industry. That's not, I mean, I know that, but I also wonder, like, it seems to me that like you guys are pushing the industry to be very advanced, like, but it also seems like that's pretty advanced for any industry and sort of this type of sort of HR and payroll tech.
Yeah, I think, yes, that's the short answer. Yeah. The other answer is we saw an opportunity to push not only our company and our tech forward in a trend, kind of going back to this sort of like, how do we answer an age-old problem? Right. But it is a risk, right? A year ago, could we have seen that we launched our Copilot a year ago, July of last year? Could we have seen that Copilot, then every tech in the next year was going to release their Copilot? And then because we already did the Copilot, and then now we're about to launch Copilot 2.0, which is really exciting. You know, could we have seen that the entire tech industry was going to essentially evolve in 1 year? Mm-hmm. And then could we have foreseen that our customers could ask us a question or bring up a problem 2 Fridays ago, and we're going to deliver on it by the end of the month? I mean, the speed and the pace, I think, is what has allowed us to advance very quickly. At this point, you know, we're a bit ahead, but to me, that's a personal, exciting thing for me, because one of the things that excites me about this industry and new industries in particular is that it gives you an opportunity to sort of change the game. Yeah. And we get to change the game, which is very exciting. And I think anyone who sees AI tech or what AI is doing to the tech industry, I think they can see that this is our opportunity to flip the industry on its head. And there will be winners and there'll be losers, but at the end of the day, being part of something disruptive, much like the very beginning of the cannabis industry being disruptive. I mean, did we think we would be this long without federal legalization? Absolutely not. But you take that risk, right? We took that risk. That's why I got here. It's probably why you got here. We all have that in common. But do we see an end game where we achieve a different level of success? Absolutely. I mean, otherwise, why would we be doing this?
Right.
Why would we be working this hard?
That's why you and I are here. That's why people watch. That's why people read this thing every day. No, it is very, very compelling. Can I ask you more of a sort of practical question, like how do people get in touch with you and your team to reach out how you can help their business?
Absolutely. So we launched UZIO AI recently, where we will actually be showing the agents in real time. Once they're completed in market and successful, we launch a demo video. So you can watch any of the new agent videos on UZIO AI. Yeah, it's very cool. Got a new one, actually 2 new ones coming up. And then UZIO.com, you can look at the core platform itself. So all of our product feedback, all of our questions from our customers and prospects will all go through a filtering process to see if it's a core update or an AI update based on what is capable and based on what's needed. Like that's pretty much the parameters. And so on UZIO.com, you'll always see the updates come through. We have made the decision to include AI in all of our product offerings at this point, except for our core basic model, which is still sort of like the startup, get it going, but you can also transition into the AI resources later. But AI will be part of tech forever at this point. I think we can all agree. Yes. So why not go ahead and include it? It's such a time saver. It's such a difference in our lifestyle. Just start using any chat feature now these days and try to go back afterwards.
No, it's challenging. It's unbelievable. And seeing it applied to new industries and new ways is very compelling. I always think to see it applied to new industries, new ways, and have it be cannabis is even, it's just amazing. So I congratulate you and the team because I've seen a little bit behind the curtain, not when we're recording, but I've seen a little bit behind the curtain, and it's amazing. And it is super helpful to so many businesses, large and small, in the industry, and it's really pushing the industry in really interesting ways. So I appreciate the partnership, appreciate your time today, and let you get back to it. But the whole time we've been on, we didn't see this guy.
Oh no, where did he go?
It's okay. We got him last time, so it's okay.
Next time.
Lilly, I appreciate it, and we'll check in with you soon.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Lilly, being with us here today and for the ongoing partnership with Cultivated. She just sent me a note once she left with links to a few videos. So I'll post one now or show one now to see one of the agents she was talking about. It looks like it's called AI-powered payroll anomaly detection, sort of what she talked about in our conversation. So hold tight and I'll play, looks like a demo.
The last step before you run payroll is to do final checks. Check for duplicate payments, unusually high or low payments, inconsistent work hours or overtime, payments after termination, and irregular commission payments. Manual check requires focus and time, and if you have large data, you can do only cursory checks. UZIO's Payroll Anomaly Detection AI agent is designed to catch mistakes before they impact your business. Here's how it works. Once the payroll data is prepared, the agent scans the entire file line by line. It checks for red flags like missing hours, duplicate entries, or mismatches in expected earnings. It uses machine learning and looks at past behavior patterns and policy thresholds. And if something doesn't look right, you get an instant alert, clearly highlighting what's off and exactly which employee record needs your attention. All of this happens in seconds. No need to manually audit thousands of rows. No surprise errors at payout time. No compliance risk down the line.
That was so cool. Thank you, Lilly, for sending that over. Thank you for joining us here today and being our partner at Cultivated. And to all of you that have joined us, thank you for being here. And please be sure to subscribe to our daily newsletter, Cultivated News. It's the best daily 5-minute read in the cannabis industry. And in it, you'll find more programming like this and more great companies doing leading work like UZIO. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for the partnership, UZIO. And we will see everybody in our newsletter.